Hi lovely people, welcome. Today I will talk about why you can't think your way out of anxiety. Quick note before we start, I am sharing this as a nurse and from my own personal experience, but everything on this channel is for information and education only, not personal medical advice. Okay, let's go into it. Have you ever tried to logic your way out of anxiety? Told yourself there is nothing to worry about, everything is fine, just calm down, stop overthinking, you are being irrational. And it didn't work. If anything, it made it worse. You felt anxious about being anxious. You felt stupid for not being able to just stop. Today I want to explain why that happens. Why thinking your way out of anxiety is like trying to put out a fire with more fire, and what actually works instead. Across the previous 6 videos, we have been building a picture: fight or flight, chronic stress, the body habits, movement, emotional eating, self-knowledge. Today we go somewhere that ties all of it together, because understanding why the thinking mind cannot rescue you from anxiety is perhaps the most particularly useful thing I can share on this entire channel. Once you understand this, everything about how you approach your own nervous system changes. To understand why thinking doesn't work, we need to understand a little about how your brain is structured. You essentially have 2 systems operating at the same time. The first is your thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex. This is the part that reasons, plans, reflects, makes decisions, understands consequences. It is the most recently involved part of your brain, sophisticated, rational, capable of extraordinary things. The second is your survival brain, sometimes called the limbic system, centered around the amygdala. This is your alarm system, ancient, fast, automatic. It does not think, it reacts. Here is the crucial thing. When you are anxious, when your amygdala fires the alarm, it actually partially shuts down access to your prefrontal cortex. Your thinking brain goes offline, not completely, but significantly. This is not a design flaw, it is brilliant survival engineering. In a genuine emergency, you do not need to philosophize, you need to act fast. So the survival brain takes over and the thinking brain steps back. The problem is your survival brain cannot tell the difference between a genuine physical threat and an anxious thought, between a predator and a difficult email, between real danger and imagined danger. So it fires the same alarm, shuts down the same thinking capacity, and then you try to think your way out with a brain that has just been significantly taken offline. You cannot think your way out of anxiety because anxiety has temporarily removed your best thinking tool. This is not weakness, this is a neuroscience. There is a concept I find enormously helpful here, the polyvagal theory developed by Dr. Stephen Porges. Very simply, your nervous system has a hierarchy of response. At top, safety and connection, your social engagement system. This is where you feel calm, connected, present, able to think clearly and relate warmly to others. In the middle, fight or flight, mobilization, action, threat response. At the bottom, freeze, shut down, collapse. When the threat feels so overwhelming that neither fighting nor fleeing seems possible. Here's what matters for today. You can only access the higher level, calm, connection, clear thinking from a regulated nervous system. When anxiety fires, you drop down the ladder and you cannot climb back using thoughts alone. You have to come back through the body first. Thoughts follow regulation, not the another way around. So why do we keep trying to think our way out if it doesn't work? Because thinking is what we trust. It is what we were rewarded for. At school, at work, in most of adult life, the ability to reason, analyze, and solve problems is valued above almost everything else. So when something goes wrong, including anxiety, we reach for our most trusted tool. Think harder, analyze more, find the rational explanation, convince yourself everything is fine. And for many problems, this works beautifully. But anxiety is not a thinking problem, it is a nervous system state. And nervous system state required nervous system solution. There is also something else at play for those of us who grew up in difficult environments. Thinking, analyzing, predicting, planning was a survival strategy. If I could think clearly enough, fast enough, accurately enough, I could anticipate the danger before it arrived. I could stay safe through diligence and intellect. So the thinking mind became not just a tool but a protector. Letting go of thinking, dropping into the body, trusting sensation over analyzing can feel genuinely dangerous, like abandoning your post. Understanding this is important. Your overthinking is not a flaw. It was once your protection. Now you are learning that you have another option. I spent years trying to think my way through everything. Anxiety would rise and I would immediately try to analyze it. Where is this coming from? Is it rational? What is the worst that could happen? What is the probability of that? Have I considered all the options? Exhausting and completely ineffective. Because while my mind was busy analyzing, my nervous system was still firing, still in alarm mode, still flooding my body with cortisol and adrenaline. The analysis didn't regulate the alarm. It just gave the alarm something complicated to attach itself to. What actually worked was coming back to my body first. Slow breath, feeling my feet on the floor, noticing physical sensation, letting the body settle before asking the mind to help. And from that slightly more regulated place, then thinking become useful again, not as an escape from the feeling, but as a companion to it. Body first, mind second, always. So if thinking doesn't work, what does? Everything that works for anxiety works through the body, through the nervous system directly, not through thoughts. Here are the most effective approaches. Breathing, especially the long exhale. Your exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest system. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6 to 8 counts. Do this 3 to 5 times. You are directly sending a signal to your nervous system: the threat is passing. We are safe. Grounding. Bringing attention to physical sensation right now. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Name 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, 3 you can hear. This pulls your nervous system back into the present moment, away from the imagined future where anxiety lives. Movement. Even 30 seconds of shaking, walking or stretching discharges the stress hormones that are fueling the anxiety. Move the body. Change the chemistry. Cold water. Splashing cold water on your face activated the drive reflex, a direct parasympathetic response that slows your heart rate almost immediately. Simply, fast, effective. Self-holding. Wrapping your arms around yourself, applying gentle pressure. This activates the same smoothing response as being held by another person. Your nervous system responds to physical comfort regardless of where it comes from. Voice and sound. Singing even slightly loudly, the vagus nerve, your main parasympathetic nerve, runs through your vocal cords. Vibrating it through sounds directly stimulates your calming system. Smiling, my favorite. Just pretend to smile is such a relief. It's just basically lowering the anxiety. When I feel very anxious, I can't concentrate on breathing. What I do first, I fake a smile. This makes my anxiety less, and then I'm able to breathe, and the breathing calms me down even more. What works for me as well very good is the cold water. I use that quite often and it's very, very helpful. Not every tool works for everyone, but the good news is we have a few to choose from, so everyone has to look for something what works for them. And all of this works through the body, through sensation, through the nervous system directly. None of them required you to think differently. Regulate first, then think. In that order, always. I want to offer you a reframe that changes everything for me. Stop asking, why am I anxious? What is wrong with me? How do I stop this? Start asking, what does my nervous system need right now? Not your mind, your nervous system. That shift from thinking about anxiety to caring for the nervous system that is producing it is the shift that actually works. Anxiety is not a third problem to be solved. It is a nervous system state to be regulated. Treat it accordingly, with body-based tools, with patience, with the same care you would offer someone you love who was frightened, because that is exactly what is happening. A part of you is frightened and it needs care, not analysis. Okay, that was for today. Next week I want to talk about something that lives very closely to this topic: hypervigilance. When your nervous system never fully switches off the alarm. When you are always scanning, always watching, always waiting. If you recognize yourself in today's video, if you are someone who overthinks, overanalyzes, tries to logic their way through everything, please share this with someone who needs to hear it. And leave a comment below. Have you ever tried to think your way out of anxiety? Did it work for you? Do you have another way to come out of anxiety? I'm very curious to know your way to deal with it. Please like and subscribe. Take care of yourself. Your body knows the way. See you next week. Bye bye.